Hey everybody, Deplorable Bobby here. This is the way I see it. Before I get started, 2 bars of silver given away at the end of the month to a subscriber who leaves a comment. Your name goes in the hat. Name's drawn June 1st, hopefully on a live stream. I want to thank my subscribers. I've gotten a few in the last couple of days. I'm grateful for them and for all the viewers and those of you who keep leaving comments. I need to give a quick shout out to Levi B, Tony Patriot, Disabled Vets Perspective, and Florida Jim. There are many more, but I can't list them all. I've got my PayPal information at the bottom of the screen, and I want you to know that donations are appreciated, but I will never ask you for money. So I appreciate anything anybody wants to ever donate. Today I'm bringing you the latest news on child and human sex trafficking from across America. My source is the DOJ's trafficking website, so of course I have a reliable source. I also have a piece on Beto O'Rourke. He's wanting to reinvent himself in hope of surpassing pedophile creepy Joe Biden in the demon rat bid for President Trump's job in the Oval Office. So I'll go ahead and get Mr. O'Rourke out of the way. Since creepy Uncle Joe Biden threw his hat into the cesspool of Democrats running for the president in 2020, he's dominated over all the other hopefuls because they all wallow in the single digits, in the political polling. Biden has more than doubled Bernie Sanders in the polls, and he's left all of the other hopefuls scratching their collective heads on what to do. It's really early in the race, for the 2020 president leader Biden, and it's very possible Biden could stumble all over his own 2 feet and fall flat on his face, and then fall to the wayside. Maybe he'll catch himself on fire on the way down with all the gasoline rhetoric he's been putting out there at Trump. Some demon rats such as Beto, I think I'm a Kennedy O'Rourke, says he's in a quiet period trying to reinvent himself and is starting a reintroduction campaign. O'Rourke's problem is he tried to run a presidential campaign like a mayoral campaign or a campaign for dog catcher. He didn't understand that governmental politics is a lot different than local politics. And he was just an idiot, and he ran a terrible campaign. I was surprised, when he lost in Texas, but he did fairly well there against Cruz. But he doesn't stand a chance against other Democrats. He just doesn't stand a chance. The big part about these hopefuls is that Kamala Harris is doing the same thing. I lost my place there for a minute, people, so that's why I had to pause. But anyway, Kamala Harris is trying to reset herself and her campaign by taking on Donald Trump. She says, never mind these other Democrats, I'm going to go after the big boy. So she says Trump is a bigot and he's making America hate instead of great. I guess that's going to be her new campaign slogan. Hate instead of great. Harris is attempting to reset her campaign after stagnating in all the Democrat polls. Her biggest stumble was all her rhetoric about Medicare for all. That didn't go over real well. But that's enough about Kamala Harris and Beto O'Rourke. And I said creepy Uncle Joe pedophile Biden's name way too many times. I want to talk to you about a New Jersey woman who had her Sri Lankan slave. 43-year-old New Jersey woman was convicted on a charge of forced labor, alien harboring for financial gain, and marriage fraud. I really can't pronounce this lady's last name, so I'm just going to call her Aaliyah. The defendant brought her slave victim, who is a Sri Lankan national, to the U.S. on a temporary visa in 2009. Aaliyah caused her to overstay her visa and remained a slave for over 9 years. The victim was forced to cook, clean for both of Aaliyah's 2 homes in New Jersey and care for her 3 children without any pay. The victim had no interactions with the world outside of Aaliyah's 2 homes. The victim was made to sleep in the kitchen, and get this part, people. Aaliyah forced the victim to marry her in order to obtain legal residence, and so there would be no chance of the victim being deported if she was found out by immigration. But she was found out, and now Aaliyah can receive 20 years in prison for her heinous crime of enslaving this woman from Sri Lanka. And then when I moved to Maryland, 40-year-old Rodney Bowden is convicted of a sex offender who paid a 14-year-old girl for sex and pornography of a child engaged in explicit sexual conduct. Bowden pled guilty on March 7th of 2019 on federal charges of sex trafficking a minor. Like I said, Bowden was already a registered sex offender at the time of the crime against this particular child. He had 2 previous convictions for sexual exploitation of a child. Now tell me, why was he not in prison away from all of our children? There's absolutely no reason why this man twice convicted of child sexual exploitation and him out running up and down the street, doing it all over again. Somebody help me out here, because I do not understand our judicial system and our penal system. It just does not make sense. But now Bowden faces at least 20 years in federal prison, where in Maryland there's no suspended sentence and there's no parole ever. He'll be sentenced in July of this year. But it still just boggles my mind how he can be twice convicted and still out here on the streets harming our children again and again. They don't stop, people. Most pedophiles have over 120 victims in their lifetime. It's sad, people. Now I'm going to jump over to New York real quick. I'll be done by my 10-minute mark. 24-year-old New York man Cameron Robinson of Platts, New York, was sentenced to 30 years in prison last Friday for exploiting 4 children. Robinson admitted in court that he convinced 4 children to engage in sexually explicit conduct as he took pictures and made videos over a 3-year period. Robinson admitted he used social media to find his victims, who were between the ages of 11 and 13. And then even in the heartland, Nebraska, 38-year-old Stephen Carlson of Omaha was sentenced to 35 years in prison, followed by lifetime parole. Well, he's going to be 74 or so when he gets out of prison. Lifetime parole won't take too long, maybe. He might even die in there if we're lucky. According to Carlson's own admission, he filmed himself engaging in forcible sex acts with a non-communicative child. Do you understand what I just said? A non-communicative child. This child was disabled. People, the innocent of the innocent. My goodness, what an animal this man is. Search warrants resulted in discovery of hundreds of images of child porn, including infants and toddlers. People, I've been telling y'all for about 4 months now, ever since I started this channel, that the children of this world are being exploited. They're being exploited sexually. They're being exploited by slave labor. They're being exploited by sexual abuse, child abuse, and people, even child sacrifice. I've told you no lies. Our children need saving. People, be aware of what your children are doing. Pray for your children and pray for each other. I'm coming up on my 10-minute mark, and I think I'm going to make it. All right, people, this is Deplorable Bobby. This is the way I see it. Like I said, pray for our children and pray for each other. Y'all have a good day.